Hello, I'm Sally Potter, Solution Focused Hypnotherapist, and this week we've been talking about resilience. So this morning I attended a fantastic webinar run by a lady called Liz Scott and her husband Stuart Newbury. They're coaches here in Ivybridge where I live. And the purpose of the webinar was to talk to people about listening for well-being, in fact. With the idea that we would be talking at some point about resilience and well-being and what our thoughts were about those things. So we broke out into groups, and in the group that I was in, we discussed what we thought about resilience and well-being, what it meant to us. And what came out of that discussion was that we all have a belief that resilience is something that exists inside us all of the time, that we all have an innate well-being, and that sometimes that can get covered up, get hidden, but it's always still there. And when we begin to learn to recognize that resilience is always still there, then we can tap into it much more easily whenever we need to. Liz had a very good way of describing how our resilience can appear to have disappeared, to appear to have been lost. When she showed us two pictures that had been taken at the same beach on different days. One of the pictures was of a very stormy sky. The sea looked dark and there didn't seem to be much sunlight. And then the other picture, taken on a different day, with a blue sky, the sea looking blue, and lots of light in this picture. And she asked us the question, which of those pictures has the most sunlight? Well, it would seem really easy to just answer that the picture that with the blue sky had the most sunlight, but in fact it's obvious when you think about it that actually the amount of sunlight never actually changes. It's just what the sky's doing that gives us a different perception. So our different perception of when we feel resilient and when we feel, or what we feel about our well-being, can be covered up by things that are happening, by events, or by all sorts of other things, or any kind of situation. So what is it that really covers up that feeling of resilience and well-being? Well, as a solution-focused therapist, I would suggest that it is when our stress bucket becomes full that we begin to lose sight of that resilience. And the stress bucket becomes full when we increase the amount of negative thought that is going on in our minds. When we allow that negative thought to fill our bucket, then we have less capacity then for being resilient and for sensing our own well-being. So what can we do about that? It's about becoming more self-aware, noticing when it is that your resilience has dropped and becoming curious about why that has happened, and then just allowing yourself to put in place the things that will help you to rediscover that resilience and well-being. And then we begin to see that actually we are resilient all of the time.